Before the fruit, before the shame, man was not dust bound. Adam and Eve were clothed in light, not garments. Their blood pulsed with eternity. Their minds radiated divine consciousness. They were not merely alive, they resonated with creation itself. The trees bent to their will, the elements obeyed their voice.
אני מזמין את גבורת יהוה.
They did not fear death, for death was not written into their design. But here is the mystery. Their very blood may not have been like ours. Modern science teaches that our blood is red because of iron in hemoglobin. Iron binds oxygen, but it also rusts. It oxidizes. It ages. And as the blood rusts, so too does the body. But what if the lifeblood of Eden carried no iron, or perhaps only a fraction, just enough to flow, but not enough to decay? Without iron's curse, Adam and Eve could live forever, immortal not by myth, but by design. After the fall, the spiral began, immortality reduced to centuries. Adam lived 930 years. Methuselah reached 969. After the flood, lifespans collapsed further, capped at 120 years, as written in Genesis. What changed? Blood became mortal. And then there is the fruit. Not merely a fruit on a tree, but the appetite it symbolized. Lust, fornication, desire twisted from covenant love into raw consumption. When they ate, their vision shifted. They saw nakedness, where once they had seen glory. They saw flesh, where once they had seen spirit. And in that moment, the frequency of their blood changed. Where once their cells resonated with light, now iron took hold. Mortality entered their veins. The clock of death began to tick. And so the way was barred. Cherubim stood guard, not only at Eden's gate, but perhaps within the chambers of the human mind. What if the flaming swords they carried were symbols of locked neural pathways, circuits of consciousness sealed shut, cutting us off from celestial awareness, from the full power of the mind? Their consciousness was even locked to the knowledge of how the universe itself was built and constructed. No longer would Adam and Eve nor their children awaken with the blueprint of creation etched in memory. Before the fall, divine knowledge of matter, energy, and elements may have been passed down without secrecy, no question unanswered, no child born ignorant. After the fall, that inheritance was veiled. Humanity was left with fragments, shadows of memory, echoes of a science once divine. Today, science confirms what Genesis whispers. Death is written into our cells. Every strand of DNA carries telomeres, protective caps at the ends of chromosomes. With each cell division, the telomeres shorten. When they are gone, the cell withers, the body ages, the dust reclaims us. But what if Adam and Eve's telomeres were self-repairing, designed to last forever? The moment iron entered their blood, perhaps those telomeres began to unravel. Immortality surrendered to entropy. Adam and Eve's sin began a spiral, from immortality to nearly 1,000 years of life. From 1,000 years down to centuries. And after the flood, capped at 120 years, as Yahweh declared in Genesis. A slow decline written in blood, in iron, in chromosomes. Humanity no longer eternal, just a shadow of what it once was. Before the fall, man was not a survivor. He was a co-creator. With divine consciousness, he may have bent matter, spoken to water, commanded fire as kin. After the fall, those powers were veiled. He was reduced to toil, sweat, hunger, fear of death. The divine spark still lingered, but behind locked gates of the mind. But here lies the hope. If Yahweh sealed the gates, then the gates still exist. If cherubim guard the way, there is still a way. The prophet spoke of a day when corruption would put on incorruption, when mortality would be swallowed up by life. A day when consciousness will be unlocked, when blood will be renewed, when the tree of life will once again be within reach. Before the fall, Adam's blood pulsed with light, after it rusted with iron. Before, his children were born with answers, after they were born with questions. Before, his consciousness resonated with creation, after it was fractured and sealed. The cherubim still guard the gates, not forever, but until Yahweh says, "Open." The fall was never just about a garden. It was about consciousness, blood, science, spirit. We were designed for resonance, but we settled for rust. Yet the promise remains. One day the gates will open. One day the cherubim will withdraw their swords. One day the blood of man will blaze again with light, and Eden will not be myth. It will be memory restored.